Hey guys, how's it going? So I was talking about my planner and my notebooks and the things I keep by my bed, and I mentioned that I like to write all this stuff down, and then I thought, hey, I really wanted to talk more about goals and goal setting and stuff like that, and just where I am and where you guys should be, or where I think you should be, or where you should consider being, and stuff like that. Yeah, anywho, I don't know where you guys are, like if you write down your goals and stuff like that, but if you don't, you really should. So where I'm at, I've been writing down my goals for years, and I've had no trouble reaching my goals. But on the last few days, I've had trouble reaching my goals, and I'm not really sure why. And then, so I looked it up, and I looked up a few speakers, and I found Jim Rohn, who I already know about, and Brian Tracy, already know about these guys. But I looked up some of their talks on YouTube, and I'm not even sure if it was Jim or if it was Brian who said, I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school, they didn't teach us how to set goals. And it got me thinking, I didn't really need what he said that at that point, but I did get my solution. But it just I don't know, it rang true for me, because I remember thinking at that exact same moment, yeah, I didn't learn how to set goals either. In fact, you know, people would say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up and stuff like that, and I'd be like, yeah, I want to be this or I want to do that. And it was just, you know, you just stuff you say and you kind of go in that direction, but it wasn't a goal, and I certainly didn't like set it and then like go after it, you know. And it wasn't until I was much older when I realized that, hey, writing down what I want to do and going toward it like that, so writing down what I want to do and keeping that in front of me, when I do that, I actually achieve the stuff I write down. And before, you know, someone would say, hey, you should write down your goals, and I would be like, you know what, I would, but my goals are really good where they are in my heart. They're just sitting there, and that's really good enough for me. But it really wasn't good enough, because I wasn't acting on them, and they were more like wishes than goals. So when I wrote them down, though, when I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and write this down, and I referred to it, I noticed that I actually changed my behavior, and then I would accomplish my goals. And what's really, so where I find myself today is I was like chugging along, and I would write down a goal, and then I would accomplish it, da 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 da. But lately I've written down the goals, and I'm not achieving them. And the solution that I found was I wasn't being specific enough, because my goals are so much bigger than before. I have to really be specific. The other stuff, I would write it down and then I could achieve it. But now I'm really just finding that I've got to dial it in really a lot. So that's where I am. But I don't know, I wanted to tell you guys, because I can't imagine living my life without writing down my goals. I don't even know, like, I shudder to think, like, where would I be? What would be, like, life would just be smashing me around and stuff. It's kind of scary to think about that. And I was just thinking, you know, there was a time when I didn't write it down, and it would be nice to hear someone who says, hey, write it down, in maybe a compelling and convincing way that would make you do it. So I'm hoping to do that today. I'm hoping that this message stirs in your heart, and hopefully this message will reach the people who know they should, who've been thinking about it, and this is just that last little push to make you go ahead and do it. But it doesn't have to be cumbersome. It doesn't have to be labor intensive. It's not like you have to write down your goals up until the day, like what you want to accomplish until the day you're on your deathbed. You don't have to go crazy. It can just be a small thing, and you just make a goal. Just have a goal, and you say you want to do something, and you know, you write it down. And it's really great if you can say by when and all this other stuff. But I remember when I started, I wanted to make killer Chinese food. I moved a few years ago, and the new place, my new town, has a Chinese place. It does have a Chinese place. And then the two towns beside me that are fairly close to me also have Chinese places, but they're not good. When I was living in the other place, The Chinese restaurant was amazing, and I got on well with the people there, and they loved me and I loved them, and it was really, really good. And then I left, and I feel so bad because I just completely miss them, and we don't talk anymore or anything like that. But yeah, I came here, and the food is not anywhere near as good as what it was. So I determined to learn how to make really, really good Chinese food. And I got the bean sprouts, and I got the Napa cabbage, and I got all of the different things. Because I love the Asian market anyway, but I wasn't like cooking anything from there. Like I would go and get kimchi. You know, I would get kimchi and dorayaki and stuff like that. I would just get some of this stuff, but I wasn't cooking with this stuff, and the bowls and the spoons and all these other things. But I wasn't cooking with it. But when I came here, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And it was either, you know, tweak your taste buds or learn to cook it yourself. And I decided, you know what, I can do this. So I did. And I love my Chinese food now a lot. The only thing I don't love is that I have to make it to be able to get good Chinese food. That's literally something I miss about the other place. Like if I wanted it, I could just get it. But now I gotta plan a little bit. I gotta set goals. I had to set that goal, and so initially I would have to plan out. So anyways, my goal was to learn to make really good Chinese food. So that meant getting all the recipes and reading the reviews to find out good, you know, whose recipe is really good and whose recipe is too salty or too yucky or whatever. So I did that, and I settled on a YouTube channel, and I made the recipes. And of course, something that I wish I'd known when I was little, that I have come to realize now that I am so very, very old, is that the first time you do something, it stinks. So don't beat yourself up. The first time, it's always going to be really bad. So I made Chinese food the first time. It was really, really bad. And I thought, just go over there. But I said, no, I'm going to do it. And that was when I decided, it's my goal now. It's my desire to learn how to make really good Chinese food. And that meant just going and getting more ingredients. Just going and getting more ingredients and more, and do it until you get it right. I did. I made the recipes multiple times, and eventually I sat down to eat it, and I was not like disgusted. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And every time I do it, I get better. And that was really, really good. So that was a goal. And I had, when you make a goal, obviously when you set your goal, you have to plan and see how you can execute it and stuff like that. And it wasn't cumbersome, it wasn't hard. So that's basically what I'm saying. Setting goals isn't cumbersome, it isn't hard, and you're more likely to reach your potential if you actually have a potential that you want to reach. So just set a goal and then you'll do it. And I did that with concerts too. I had a goal to go see a few concerts, and I wanted to see some music acts, which I've already told you guys the story about that. But I wanted to see a couple of comedians and some music acts, and you know, I'd been saying I want to do that for years. Oh, I'm gonna do it, and it wasn't until I said this year I'm gonna go see 5 or 6, and it really was dependent on people I like, because I don't want to just go. So I ended up seeing those concerts. I already told you guys about that, and I'm really happy I did. A few years back, I made a decision to go to 3 art museums, and I went, and I'm laughing a little bit because I do not know what it is about me, but things die. Like if I love something, it dies. So I went to these museums, and I am not joking, guys. I went, and I was like, man, that was just such a wonderful experience. I can't wait to go back. And then I go and check on their website to find out when I can go, what their hours are. And I'm like, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go back to it, because it was out of town. I had to do a huge drive to go see it. And yeah, they closed down. Like, and it wasn't like just for remodeling. Actually, it was for remodeling, but it wasn't like just for a little while. Like the main one, the biggest, prettiest, best museum, all of their pieces were being shipped all over the place. They were getting everything out, and you know, it was just, it was really sad because I was thinking I wanted that because the first time you go, it's like overwhelming and you're just like trying to soak it all up and stuff like that. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'll go. But now I'm concerned that those pieces, some of those pieces will never be in that location again. And you know, when you go to a museum, they do rotate the stuff, and I don't know. Side note. Anyways, goals, happy things. Yeah, set a goal and you achieve it, and I'll write it down and stuff like that. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, and I'll wrap it up, is that when you set goals, when I have set goals in the past, when I set goals, I notice some wonderful things happen. The first is my mind is engaged. If you are like frequently bored and you're like, what do I do? And you're just like going from one, I don't know, like empty thing to the next, with movies and TV shows and stuff like that, and you're like, what do I do? When you have a goal, your brain is engaged, and it is so wonderful. It just helps with boredom. The next thing is that I am in a great mood. I end up getting so fired up and so excited, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm a lot friendlier, and a little bounce in my step, and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. And then I'm always thinking about how, like, I'm future minded. I'm thinking about like, oh, this is gonna be great, and stuff like that. And last but not least, I move with a purpose. I'm very excited, and there's like, I don't know, I move with a purpose. I don't really know how to expound on that. That's what happened. So only good things happen, no bad things happen. So I guess to wrap it all up in a pretty package with a nice wrapping paper and a bow on the top. Yeah, goals. It's really a good idea to set them. If you're not doing that right now, just pick a small goal and write it down, and then review it, and be specific about it. You don't have to be too specific, but be specific about it, and if at all possible, put a date on there, and then just review that, and then just come back, you know, after a while and leave it in the comments how it's turning out for you. And be honest, because if you come back in a month and say it's not working out, then that's not honest, because it does work. It works. So if there's something you want to accomplish, if there's something you want to do, just write it down, be specific about it, and then just watch how things unfold. It's really very neat. Anyways, guys, that was on my heart, and I want to share it with you, and that's about all I got. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.